Today we're going to talk about what? Draw shots. Learning draw shot on a short rail, okay? And on top of that, later on long rail, or actually long draw shots, okay? One person long time ago told me this about the stripe ball. For the person, it serves two things for drills, okay? First one is the top part of the stripe ball. When you're doing jump shots, right, you're doing on the top part, but the bottom part of the stripe ball is actually really good for someone to visualize doing a draw shot, right? Because it's perfect when you set it up like this. Go to the pool table or your billiards, right? Put the stripe ball, and you will notice that whenever you need to hit right into that spot, okay, you will see that the draw shot is actually right on that line. All the rest of it is pretty much laying your cue when you're holding it a little bit more to the bottom. So you don't want to be kind of like this, right? You want to be a little bit more on the bottom side of it. And then if you're not hitting, let's say, this line, okay, if I hit just a little bit, it's going to be a stop shot, right? So take few of the stripe balls and practice your draw shots with just setting it up correctly. And then if I need to hit, do this, right? Another another thing I would say when practicing or doing drills for the draw shot, or just practicing in general, try to set something like, let's say in this case, between one diamond away from each other, right? So what that means is that I want the 10 ball, or actually cue ball, to come back at least, or actually perfectly. I want it to align it somewhere with the first diamond. Now to do that, obviously I have to watch out for the power, right? So you see it's perfectly aligned with this diamond. Now set up a little bit further, right? And then do the same thing where you set your ball, same here. Now you want, let's say, I don't know, at least one diamond away, but maybe even more, okay? So if we're doing this, now this is not a bad a draw shot, but look, is it on a video? Yeah. Now look where my well, the practice ball is, or in this case, let's say cue ball, right? It was about an inch and a half away from the rail. That to me means that when I hit this ball, right? So let's put this one back. When I hit this ball, I put a little bit of a what is it called? A little bit of a bottom left, and then once it hit the rail, it went back. Okay, see, now I'm a little bit better, right? So what if you start doing 1.5 inch, it's not too bad. It's actually really bad on a long draw shots. On the short ones, it's not too bad when you have a cue ball control, right? But on the short ones, you really do not want to be more than, let's say, a finger or two fingers away, okay? So like if I really want this draw shot to execute perfectly, right, I need to do something like this, okay? About finger away, or, you know, closest possible. The reason also this is a little bit harder, and thus why I'm doing it as a practice here or drill, is because as soon as the ball hits the cushion, it actually, you know, the energy goes like this, and then it puts it a little bit out. So don't get too worried about one or two fingers, but if it's more than that, like, you know, 5 fingers or 2-3 inches away from the rail, then you know that you're doing something really, really wrong, even though you're pulling the ball back, okay? So if you want to avoid that, that part where it doesn't go off the rail. For me personally, like I said, I like to do it really onto the rail with that shot, because then it gives me better precision. But if you really want to avoid that, put about like, I don't know, like just a little bit off from the rail, and then try it again where the ball really should be going straight back, okay? And then you saw the result, right? The one important part that I always want to stress about is basically do the chalk mostly like this and on the side, okay? Because if you're just doing the top, actually the side of the tip matters a whole lot more than the top in itself, okay? When the chalk is hitting the cue ball into the object ball on a pool table, you want to have that grip, right? So for this one, set up two balls, set few balls like this on the side, okay? So we're not on the rail anymore. Set it out like this and about a foot away, okay? This here is a foot away, and the cue ball needs to come back past this line, okay? I'm right here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but here's the middle where you rack, or actually that spot, the black spot, right? So in order to execute, again, do again, go back to the bottom, and now you should advance from away from the, you should advance away from the doing the stripe. If you still have issues, take the stripe ball and practice with the stripe ball. But again, don't get too comfortable, because on the cue ball, it's a little bit of a difference. So do about, I don't know, uh, do about 5 of these like this, okay, where you draw as much as possible, okay, and then take about 2 feet away, okay. Now we're 2 feet away. Again, if I don't chalk, I'm not gonna do, I'm not gonna have that grip, okay, even though it's a really good chalk and all of that. So again, do the same thing. Sorry about the noise. Again, you saw the whole draw was very good, okay. So 2 feet away, take 5 balls or something like that, okay. And then practice also the power, okay. Power, sometimes, let's say, if you look at it on this way, the power, let's say you wanted to have that draw shot, but you want to align yourself for this shot or this shot. Now if I would have that little bit of a draw, I would have a, you know, an issue. But don't focus on that. The focus is what? The focus is on doing two, at least now 2 feet away from the object ball to the cue ball. I just got some alarms, so I don't know if you guys are gonna hear me or not, but here's the draw shot of 2 ways, okay? It went all the way. So that's the power of doing these. My pocket over there is full, so I'm not gonna do it. So again, do that from um, 1 foot away, 2 feet away, then advance to 3, 4, 5. The power matters, obviously. The thing is, what I always say to people is this: if you're doing draw shot, right, and you have too much power, and then you start jumping the ball, that means you're not hitting the cue ball onto the right spot, right? So that looks something like, they wanted to have that super draw shot, and then they do something like that, right? So let me go get the ball. So that's what I mean by scooping the ball, right? So that's that happens a lot. And I started, when I started doing the draw shots, again, don't forget to chalk the sides and everything. um that's that thing where I explain to people, when you're practicing draw shots, the power is not all, okay. Practice that way. When you do these draw shots, that you practice them, that way it comes back, okay. That's the part. And then you can do something like this. You will see where the ball is actually draw shot, okay. I'm gonna hit this ball a little bit more on the left side, and then I'm gonna do a bottom right, okay, because I want my cue ball to go a little bit more on the sideways, okay. So to do that, you see how it went this way, right? It didn't go straight. But for that, it's a whole new level of doing the draw shots. All right, the next one too, put a ball kind of almost at the pocket. Okay, you can put it at the pocket. I kind of like to leave it about half a foot away from the pocket, or 10 centimeters, something about that. Same thing with the cue ball. Okay, not right on the center right here, but a little bit back. Okay, so this distance in about, I don't know, it's about a foot and a half. I don't know, what would that be, about a meter. um Anyways, so what the goal of this one is that the ball should travel to at least this spot right here, but the goal is actually to get as close as possible to the side pocket, which you unfortunately do not see. Again, I did forget to say something before in the video. When you're doing a draw shots or backspins, however you want to call it, okay, when you do that, okay, your cue should stay here. Okay, do not do this. Okay, and pull it right back. Follow through. Okay, so when you're doing this, okay, follow through, and the ball should look something like this. Okay, where it's close to the pocket, and basically you have now, let's say this is an 8 ball or 1 ball, doesn't matter, right? You want it to have it somewhere here. Obviously try not to scratch, right? Okay, so for this one, I'm not gonna go a whole lot into it, but you will notice why people sometimes use a backspin or draw shot, and then they put the actual little bit of a left or right English. Well, there's a reason for it. It's just because of, number one is cue ball control. We are playing 8 ball, okay? Your last solid, and there's the 8 ball, okay? The only spot that really kind of goes is into that pocket right there. How would you do that? If, let's say, okay, so let's say we put the draw shot a little bit here. Yeah, sure, you can cut it. That's normal. But if you're blocked, okay, then, and here's the area right here is the only area that will help you with um, coming back. Okay, so what you do is you're doing a little bit of a draw shot, okay, with a little bit of a spin, just a little bit, not a whole lot, not even a full tip. Okay, and then do the same thing. Okay, and now I have a perfect shot for the 8 ball, right? So I can't see it from the camera. Hope I don't miss it. Okay, that's the reason why you do a little bit of a spin.